now on Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com. Just days after trailing Trump in the Iowa caucuses, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis decided to suspend his presidential campaign. We'll tell you who he immediately endorsed following the announcement. Turning now to Oklahoma, a medical helicopter went down Saturday night as the chopper attempted to return to base in the city of Weatherford. The crash killed 3 crew members aboard. We have the story. And a call for peace this morning from the Vatican City. Pope Francis prayed among the faithful Sunday, asking once again to end global violence. We have more on his message straight ahead.
Take a look on the outside. We're looking at the Victoria Skycam from the Emergency Complex there in south of town. Traffic building up a little bit. Take it slow if you're out and about because the visibilities are reduced and the rain heavy at times. What's our forecast looking like for the rest of the day and the week? We'll take a look coming up.
We now know the matchup to the AFC and NFC title games. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolina Astrain.
Trey Manning here.
And today it's the 22nd day of January 2024.
It is, yes.
And the time is now 6:31 on our Monday morning. And it is National Grandpa Day. So happy Grandpa Day if you're a grandpa out there. And it's also Polka Dot Day.
Oh, exactly.
I missed the memo on the polka dots though, Trey. Or floral.
Same here, same here. I need to get my dots in order here.
True. Well, how's it looking out there? We're seeing a lot of dots fall from the sky.
We are, exactly. And that's a good way to put it, exactly. And we're out around here, we're seeing the rainfall. On the roof here, the TV station is quite loud. So it means it's heavy rain, and which is we've been expecting for a while. And that could cause some localized flooding coming up, so be careful out there. Some ponding on the local roads. Once again, temperature Victoria, 57 cool degrees. Just the rainfall, have a cool feel to the air, so definitely a jacket weather and umbrella weather throughout the entire day today, no matter where you are. But I'm seeing a little hint of a temporary break in the rainfall. Here's a big shield of rain moving on through. Now from about Goliad toward Beeville and point to the west, a little bit of a break here as the first upper level low pressure area is moving through the east, taking the rain shield with it. So there's a heavy rainfall there near areas there in Inez toward Wharton Ocampo and down toward Calhoun County, and it points to south from there. But I think in the next hour or two we'll see a break around here. But that does not mean the rain is gone altogether. There'll be more coming as we go throughout the next couple of days, including later on this afternoon. And the rainfall we've already had, we're building on numbers like 2 to 4 inches already from Beeville down to areas near Refugio, points south from there. Same thing along the I-35 corridor from San Antonio to Austin, and working on 1 or 2 inches around the majority of the crossroads. And now the rain is moving to the east, so these areas will be filling in Bay City toward Port Lavaca and Port O'Connor next hour or two with that big mass rain headed that way. So building on these numbers here, we could have 5 to 6 inches before the time has come by the day on Wednesday evening when all the rain moves to the east. So a good soaker of rain for us. What about your forecast? We got that too a little bit later on. Carolina?
Thank you, Trey. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has ended his bid for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. DeSantis announced his decision in a video statement posted to X just 2 days before the New Hampshire primary, quoting Winston Churchill and immediately endorsing former President Donald Trump. This comes after DeSantis placed a distant second behind Trump in the Iowa caucuses and then took his campaign to South Carolina before quietly returning to Florida on Thursday with no explanation as to why. 3 members of a medical helicopter crew died in a crash in Lade, Oklahoma Saturday night. Air Evac Life Team said the aircraft was returning to base in Weatherford when it lost contact with the Operations Control Center just before 11:30 p.m. Nearby AEL teams assisted local law enforcement with the search, and the chopper was located near Hydro. At this time, AEL's not sharing the names of the crew members aboard the flight. They have also turned over the scene and an investigation over to the NTSB. Across the crossroads, a vehicle caught fire on the side of a State Highway 35 near the Refugio and Aransas County line on Sunday. Authorities asked drivers to drive with caution and watch for emergency responders as they work to contain the fire. We've not received any word on injuries at this time and no word yet on what caused the fire to start. Pope Francis called for peace during a message to the faithful in Vatican City Sunday. The Pope prayed for an end to the violence in Haiti, asking for the release of 6 nuns kidnapped along with others in the country. He said, "As I plead for their release, I pray for social harmony in every country and call on everyone to stop the violence that causes so much suffering to that dear people." The nuns and their driver were kidnapped recently while riding on a bus to the capital, Port-au-Prince. The Pope also called again for peace in Israel, Gaza, and Ukraine. His message of peace received strong support from those in attendance at St. Peter's Square. That leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We ask you, do you support the Pope's call for peace? Okay, let's take a look. 90% of you say yes, and 10% of you say no. Thank you for taking part in this morning's viewer poll. We turn now to a new study on children and sports. More young children are quitting sports, and researchers are finding out why.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has issued a new warning about youth sports, saying too much pressure on kids' performance is leading to overtraining, injuries, and burnout.
Nice, Alex.
In recent years, experts have raised more concerns about parents taking the fun away.
When there's such an overemphasis on winning, it really takes away the enjoyment.
The new study, released overnight, finds a whopping 70% of kids are dropping out of organized youth sports by age 13. Factors include depression, fatigue, sleep problems, and injuries. Injuries in youth football took the spotlight in California this month as lawmakers considered banning tackle football for kids under 12. Super Bowl champ Rob Gronkowski supported the proposal.
I love that these kids want to play the game of football, but to play the game of football at such a young age, I think is a little dangerous.
But California Governor Gavin Newsom killing the proposal, pledging not to sign it, saying, "I am deeply concerned about the health and safety of our young athletes, but an outright ban is not the answer," arguing whether kids play should be up to parents. In the end, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends young athletes should take part in no more than one sport per day and have at least 1 day of rest per week from organized sports. And experts say the focus should not be on wins and losses.
Parents can do a lot to support young people. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. It's that they're building their character and they're taking care of their bodies.
The new study out this morning also recommends young athletes have 2 to 3 months off from each sport every year. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is 6:37 on our Monday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. A Victoria West High School senior shares her experiences as becoming a published author.
Tomorrow marks the first in the nation primary. I'm Melissa Adon in New Hampshire, and coming up, I have the details on how the race for the White House is shaping up.
Rain still falling throughout the Crossroads region this morning. Getting some good amounts around here, 2 to 4 to 5 inch totals expected in the next day or two, in addition to what we have been having already. But beginning to see the end of the rainfall right here, kind of a little bit of a break we're having later on this morning. Does that mean the end of the rain for us totally? No, not a chance. We'll give you the details in the full forecast. The rain is falling here in the Crossroads, no doubt about it. I'm sure you hear the rain on your roof if you've been out and about. I hope you were able to be careful out there because the roads are slick and some ponding on the roads already beginning to appear around the region this morning. Rain coming on through, you see right there, more to come. A little bit of a break behind this first batch of rain as it moves to the east, but the upper level disturbance out west will keep the rain chance in for us as it moves to the east. So a little bit of a break in between, and then more rain will head our way. That's why we're expecting alert days today, Tuesday, and into Wednesday for heavy rain potential, all 3 of those days. And the first batch of rain, like I just said, moving further to the east, replaced by another area of rainfall as the upper level low pressure area in front gets closer to us, moves on through. By about Thursday or so, we'll see the front to our east, dry air works in behind the low, gives us a little bit of a break toward the end of the week with a little bit cooler temperatures by the weekend as well. Once again, the future track, We're seeing the rain moving on through, a little bit of a break to be had coming up about late morning hours. Some lingering rain along the coast still hanging in there. And giving a little bit of break with cloud cover continuing for the rest of the afternoon. More rain to follow. What are the chances for rain for the weekend? For the rest of the week, I should say. We'll take a look at the weekend as well later on in the full forecast. Carolina?
Thank you, Trey. The divisional round of the postseason is wrapped up. Here's sports reporter Zach Brown.
Now, Cowboys fans were probably delighted to see the Green Bay Packers get eliminated by San Francisco. And as for who the 49ers are going to play in the NFC title game, they're going to get the winner of this game right here. Lions-Bucks all squared at 17. But there goes Jahmyr Gibbs. Later in the fourth quarter, it's a 14-point game. Baker Mayfield hits Galveston's own Mike Evans to cut into that lead a bit. They'd go for 2 for whatever reason. Did not get it, so they're still down 8. Less than 2 minutes to go. Oklahoma Sooner great Baker Mayfield picked off. Game over. Detroit headed to the NFC title game for the first time since 1991. So the NFC title game matchup all squared up, but now we got to figure out who's going to Baltimore. Buffalo led late in the first half, but Mahomes has Kelsey. Brother Jason Kelsey loving what he sees, fired up. Rather see that than some Taylor Swift highlights. Now, Chiefs try to put this one away in the fourth quarter. McCall Hardman fumbles, and it goes out of the end zone. The Bills get very lucky to get the ball back. They didn't move the ball, but they did hold on defense, and they had a shot at a game-tying field goal wide right, and their season ends just like their 1991 Super Bowl on a kick that's wide right. A fan on Twitter made a very good point. The fans in Buffalo spent the last 2 weeks shoveling snow out of that stadium, and for the game to end like that, that's tough. With your 25 Sports Now, I'm Zach Brown.
Thank you, Zach. All right, we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. Now, to a major development in the race for president. Ron DeSantis dropping out and supporting former President Trump. Sources say Governor DeSantis has no current plans to campaign with Trump. In the meantime, Trump could take the stand in a New York City courtroom today.
And then there were 2.
I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, once thought to have the best chance of supplanting Donald Trump as leader of the GOP, now suspending his presidential campaign and endorsing Trump just days before the New Hampshire primary.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden.
Trump has spent much of his campaign slamming DeSantis.
The problem with Ron DeSanctimonious is that he needs a personality transplant.
But after DeSantis suspended his campaign, a friendlier tone.
I'd like to take time to congratulate Ron DeSantis and, of course, a really terrific person.
Now, the only person standing between Trump and the Republican nomination is former Ambassador Nikki Haley. But Haley is facing a double-digit deficit heading into tomorrow's primary, with 50% of likely Republican primary voters supporting Trump. Haley at just 39%, according to a CNN University of New Hampshire poll. Haley says even if she loses tomorrow, she's not quitting.
We're going home to South Carolina. We're going to crisscross the state that I love so much. So we're not backing out anytime soon.
Haley is questioning if Trump is mentally fit to serve after the former president appeared to confuse her with former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi when recently discussing the January 6th riot at the Capitol.
When you're dealing with the pressures of a presidency, we can't have someone else that we question whether they're mentally fit to do this.
Today, Haley is expected to hold multiple rallies across the state of New Hampshire. Meantime, Trump is expected in court in New York for the case brought on by E. Jean Carroll. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
We now get to know an author. That's a Victoria West High School senior. 25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick sat down with Grace Palmer to hear her take on her experiences.
Grace depicted friendship, betrayal, and death throughout Saved My Life. The book follows a group of friends whose lives change after a car crash, government recruitment, and a kidnapping. She gave a sneak peek of what happens in the 16th chapter.
I tried to scream for help, but he put his hand over my mouth. He growled and hit me over the head. I collapsed to the ground. He leaned down and grabbed my arms while I kicked at him. Then he pinned my legs. He pulled back his fist, and I knew he was going to knock me out. The last thing I saw before he hit me was a malicious gleam in his eyes.
Whew, that's jarring. Grace says the idea came from her faith in God.
The theme of someone sacrificing themselves to save somebody else, like Jesus did for me, is in my book. And so that's kind of where the idea of like betrayal, like we betrayed Jesus, our loving Father, by sinning, and then like redemption that happens in the book is how Jesus redeems us.
In writing this story, Grace did not realize she became a story as well.
It's like
a high
crazy.
school student doubling as an author.
Like all these people that have bought my book have like read things that I've written, and it's just like crazy to think about.
Her family supported her through the process of writing the book. However, the book was a surprise to many.
And so it was just like, oh, by the way, guys, I'm publishing a book. And they were like, what? Like, you didn't tell us? Like, how long have you been doing this?
Grace has sold over 130 copies of Save My Life. She does not plan to stop until she's a traditionally published author. And she knows she can do it because...
And my parents have just always taught me that I can do, like, anything I set my mind to.
You can get your copy of Save My Life from Amazon, your local Target, or Barnes & Noble. You can also visit our website, crossroadstoday.com, for more information. The time is now 6:47 on our Monday morning. Still to come, the Duchess of York battling melanoma, an aggressive form of skin cancer. Okay, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy 17th birthday to Edward from Mom, Dad, and all your family and friends.
And happy birthday to Jasmine. Want to wish a big happy 21st birthday to our daughter Jasmine. Hope you have a great day. Love from Mom, your sisters, Grandma, and Grandpa.
And happy birthday to culinary star Guy Fieri, who is 56 today.
And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click on More on the Home. You'll see the K-View. Submit your birthday.
All right, the time is now 6:48 on our Monday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
Man, we'll be right back. Good morning, and happy Monday. And what when it is, thunderstorms around the region this morning. Look at the future tracker. We may see a little break before too much longer. Next hour or two, there'll still be in our region moving on through. And then we'll have a little bit of break by late morning and the afternoon around here. But don't put your umbrellas away because more storms will be forming out west moving on through by later on the day today and over the next couple of days. So the rain chances still remaining quite high. A little bit of break from time to time. More storms will roll through. That's the pattern we're going to be experiencing. In Victoria today, starting off in the 50s with thunderstorms likely through about the noon hour, a little bit after that as well. A bit of a break in the afternoon, and temperatures in the 50s and near 60 degrees for the daytime high. Port Lavaca, you're about the same. Thunderstorms currently in the region, and they'll be lasting through the early afternoon as well. Highs near 60 degrees, and up in Cuero, we're seeing temperatures in the 50s remaining all day long, maybe near 60 degrees by 6 o'clock or so. Scattered numerous rain showers and thunderstorms there as well in DeWitt County. And for us here at Crossroads, rain chance alert days for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with a threat of some localized flooding. That's why we have them there. And then begin to settle down and see some more sunshine by the end of the week. Be careful out there. Heavy rain time will cause some ponding on the roads. Be safe.
A spokesman for Britain, Sarah Ferguson, says the Duchess of York is battling melanoma, an aggressive form of skin cancer. The spokesman says the cancer was discovered after doctors removed several moles when she was treated for breast cancer last June. Ferguson is currently recovering at home. The 64-year-old is reportedly in good spirits. Melanoma is considered the most serious form of skin cancer because it can quickly spread to other parts of the body and become potentially deadly. Ferguson's spokesman says the Duchess is grateful to her entire medical team and is especially grateful to her dermatologist who detected the cancer early on. A salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupe is now over. The CDC made that announcement last Friday. More than 400 people became sickened in 44 states. That led to 158 hospitalizations and 6 deaths. The tainted cantaloupe were also sold in Canada. And Canadian leaders say they had more than 160 cases. That included 61 hospitalizations and 7 deaths. The Malchita and Rudy brand cantaloupes were sold at a number of retailers, including Quick Trip, Kroger, and Trader Joe's between September and December of last year. FDA warns anyone, if you have put Cantaloupe products in the freezer, you should check if they were part of the recall, and if you're not sure, just throw the cantaloupe away. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Several people hurt after a violent fire in Indiana. Several people are hurt after a violent house fire in South Bend, Indiana. Crews were called to the scene Sunday evening. It took around 3 hours to put the blaze out, with part of the roof being burned out with at least 10-foot flames. Fire leaders say adults and children were trapped inside the home, and there are multiple injuries. No word on the extent. At least one person was airlifted to a hospital. A firefighter was also hospitalized after falling through a door in the building, after falling through a floor in the building, and he's expected to be okay. Over 600 nurses in Honolulu, Hawaii are prepared to be on the picket lines this week after contract negotiations broke down between the nurses union and hospital. Nurses at a medical center walked off the job Sunday and plan to stay on the picket lines for a week. The nurses union says the issue is now not over money, but how many patients are assigned to one nurse. Hospital leaders say the ratio requirements the union is seeking could impact their ability to operate and delay patient care. If nothing happens this week, the union and hospital are scheduled to go back to the negotiating table on January 31st. If you're someone summoned for jury duty today at the Victoria County Courthouse, you're asked to not appear. The courthouse has canceled today's 8:30 a.m. session, and the court will not reschedule this date. Be Well Victoria will host a Faces of Homelessness panel on Thursday, February 1st at the UHV West Alcorn Auditorium, room 204. It's going to be at 3007 North Bend Wilson from 1 to 3 p.m. It provides an opportunity for dialogue between individuals who have experienced homelessness and with those who want to learn more about it. In December, all 5 members of the Gunter City Council quit. A fight over a railroad development spiraled into political mudslinging, broken trust, and conspiracy in the small North Texas town. Read the story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. And now we have time for a final look at our forecast with Trey. Trey, we've got a lot of weather going on, and people really need to be safe out there with this flooding.
They sure do. There'll be some ponding on the roads. I'm not surprised if there's some out there already. Maybe some minor street flooding with all these heavy rains and moving through the last several hours here. There's still more to go before we get a little bit of a break. Coming up by late morning or so, see the storms rolling on through. But this is not the end of the entire event. There'll be more developing to the west, moving on through as we have to get a little break this afternoon. So rain chances remaining high coming up the next few days. In Victoria today, temperatures are 60 degrees, thunderstorms the majority of the day, settling down somewhat by the late afternoon to evening time. And then same thing up and down in Port Lavaca, thunderstorms likely as well. Some producing some heavy rainfall. Be careful out there. Beginning to subside somewhat by the late afternoon, late morning, late afternoon time frame. Cuero, you're in the mix as well with thunderstorms likely. Still continuing with that currently, and it's going to continue for the majority of the day today. Alert days coming up for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the threat of some localized flooding, so please keep that in mind. We want you to remain safe. Finally getting some break in their forecasts by Thursday, Friday. A little bit of a front moves on through. Cools us down a little bit, gets us drier. And outside of that, looking pretty good overall. Catching up on the rain. Be careful out there. There will be some ponding on the roadways as you're out and about today and on through your day on Wednesday.
Yes, be very careful out there, and thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Join us tonight for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10.